Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Namaste Experience at Namaste Village. Here we are, a new week, starting on Monday. Time to dive in. So for those of you who could hear, we just shared a song called Go Share the Gospel. And it comes from one of my favorite quotes by Francis of Assisi, of course, who said, "Go share the gospel and only when necessary use words." Only when necessary. Because the good news is not ultimately shareable by words, because words are symbols. In fact, they're symbols of symbols. So they're twice removed, as it says in A Course in Miracles. Twice removed from the truth. So the good news or the living message cannot be shared in words, but it can be shared through presence. In fact, it's the only way. And presence means the way that we love one another, the way that we see one another, the way that we relate to one another. And so we're meant, as we hear, to be the living extension and expression of that love. That's how we share the gospel. So I've always loved that quote because Francis was all about presence. He was never really about words. The people that he transformed just because they were in his presence, and the fire within him was so strong and the heat was so great that they couldn't help but be transformed by it. Now, if only all of us could be the same. We think of people like our dear Vicky. We often use her as the example, don't we? She's a good example. All you need to do is be around her. She doesn't need to talk the talk. I'm always suspicious of people who think that they need to be talking about spirituality or A Course in Miracles or God all the time. Because it feels like they're always trying to convince you of something. Maybe it's trying to convince you of how much they know or how great they can regurgitate information. And that's fine. However, to share words, symbols, information without the presence, without that fire, it means really nothing. I would much rather be around those who are on. Someone's unmuted. Hold on. Can't find you. Hold on. Mute everybody. I would much rather be around those great lovers of God who are just simply expressing the light that is so bright within them. And when you're near those people, you want that same experience. You can't not want it because there's a resonance pattern that is created. If I had my guitar here, I would show you. If you pluck one string, just one, and then deaden it, guess what you hear? You pluck one, but then you stop the vibration. What else do you hear? The others are vibrating. I didn't have to pluck the other strings, especially if I'm, say, plucking the E string, and the corresponding E string will begin to vibrate very strong, even though I didn't touch it, because the resonance pattern set it in motion, set it vibrating. And it's the same with us. If the vibration of the I am experience is bright and powerful within us, you don't need to do anything except be present. And everyone else will feel that and they'll begin to vibrate with that same presence. So go share the gospel of love, and only when you need, use words. And that's where we begin. So I want to share something that came through yesterday. This will be our guiding into the subject of miracles. That's what I want to talk about this week, the miracle. We hear about that a lot from different contexts. What is it? How do we live within the miracle? So we're going to be exploring all of those things this week. So let me go ahead and we'll share the screen and we'll bring our first offering up. So here we go. Your willingness to receive and then extend miracles, your willingness is all that you need to abandon the dream of separation. But it requires an adjustment that's still foreign to you. Extending miracles requires an adjustment that is still foreign. It's foreign to the ego mind. It's foreign to that part of us that wants to remain separate and split and isolated. We cannot extend miracles if we're living within a false reality, a false self, because miracles are the result of an alignment. That's all it is. When you're aligned with the reality and the truth of who you are, miracles are natural. They happen automatically. So it begins with the willingness to extend them, to receive them as well. But then there's a mind training that's involved, because that adjustment still has to be made, an adjustment in order to become the living vessel of those miracles, okay? The miracle requires that you see time different than how you see it now. If you believe you are bound by time, miracles will seem unreasonable to you. If you believe that you are bound by time, miracles will seem unreasonable. But if you realize that time can never restrain the holy, perfect creation of a holy, perfect creator, then miracles will not only be reasonable, they will call you out of the mind with a small m, call you out of the mind that you have relied on till now, into the mind with a capital M that God relies upon. Let me read that last sentence one more time. If you realize that time can never restrain the holy, perfect creation of a holy, perfect creator, it can never restrain that, then miracles will not only seem reasonable to you, but they will call you out of the mind, the small mind, that you have relied on, that you've been relying on, the small mind, into the mind, the capital mind, that God relies upon. That's big stuff. And that's hard to really imagine, to even accept. In fact, let's continue. You may now be thinking, why would God rely upon my mind? How could God, whatever God is, whatever that reality, wholeness, beingness is, how could that rely upon this? Okay, so here it is. This is the very thought that blocks you from realizing. This is the very thought that blocks you from realizing that God sees your mind as one with his or her own. Therefore, reliance is automatic. To God, who sees to the reality of all realities, that sees you as one within that one mind, reliance is automatic. God relies upon your mind, not your small mind, but the truth of who you are, because there's no other alternative. That's all there is. It's automatic. But, and here's the key, it is not a reliance between equals. Even though there's oneness, it's not a reliance upon equals, because you were created by God, and what is created by God cannot create its creator. You cannot create your creator, but you can create like your creator. That's the key. You cannot create that which created you. You can't turn it around in that way, but you can You can enter into that vibrational resonance, and in doing so, create like creation itself, like your creator. So how do we do that? Until now, you've been confused, or rather, you've confused what you are capable of and what you are not capable of. You have confused what you are capable of and what you're not capable of. You can create like God only by extending the essence of the love that created you. You can create like God only by extending the essence of the love that created you. That's how you do it. In other words, you must first become conscious of that love with a capital L. For only then can you offer it to another. Only when you're conscious of the eternal love that has been given to you at your creation can you offer it to another. This is what it means to create like your creator, since all God does is extend love. All God does is extend love. And the essence of that love can only be known through your extension of the same. In other words, the only way you can know the love in which you were created is by giving it away, by being the source of that love. That's how you create like your creator, by constantly extending love. Now, how do we do that in a practical term? Vicky talks about wholeheartedness. We give our wholehearted attention to whatever is right in front of us, whoever is right in front of us, our whole heart. We don't pay any attention to any of the other dramas or challenges that are going on around us. Turn your whole heart, your whole mind toward whatever is right in front of you and give everything to that, to whoever that may be. It may be someone right here at Namaste Village. It may be someone in your family. It may be someone that you don't like. Wholehearted love. Why? Because that's how you were created, with a wholehearted love. That's how you create like your creator, and that's what allows the miracle. Okay, where did I leave off? This is what it means to create like your creator, since all God does is extend love, and the essence of that love can only be known through your extension of the same, by you giving it away. This is what the miracle is. Creating like your creator. The mind you think with projects, while the mind you share with God extends. So projection or extension. It would be good for you to know the difference, right? So here it is. Projection is a rejection. Sounds like projection is a rejection. We could sing a song to that. Projection is a rejection, while extension is an inclusion of everything real. Now, we can think of this in psychological terms if you want, and it's the exact same thing. If I'm projecting that which I don't want to look at within myself, and then I project it onto Jeff, Jeff is X, Y, and Z, because I can't own that myself. The only place it can be healed is right here. I cannot heal it through Jeff. So that's projection. It's me rejecting something within me. Extension is me including everything within me. It's an inclusion. And well, the next part is very important. Inclusion of everything that is real, not the unreal, but only the real. You project that which you do not want to see within yourself, but you extend that which is always seen by God. You extend that which is always seen by God. Do you see the difference? Actually, it would be better to ask if you feel the difference, since what you choose to feel leads to what you actually see. What you choose to feel leads to what you see. You cannot see something, even if it's right in front of you, unless you're able to feel its presence. So what you're really feeling is the presence that is always present within you. This is the only thing we're really called to do. This is the experience we speak of every day, to feel and to know the presence that is always present within you, that is always whole within you. And as we just said a second ago, you do that by being the source of it, by giving it away. When you feel this presence, you will see it everywhere. And then in that same moment, you will be free to rejoin that which has never been lost, your oneness with your Creator. You will rejoin that which has never been lost, the truth, the reality, the presence, the oneness that you share that cannot be taken away, that cannot be challenged. You live in a world, and you've created a world in which everything is challenged. All this is saying is that nothing real can be challenged. And what is real forever. It's real, it's whole, it's now. That's the miracle. The miracle is you were wrong. Celebrate your wrongness. You were wrong about who you thought you were, who you thought everyone was. And that's a good thing, because now you can be right. Now you can just let it all go. Everything I thought this world was for, and come with wholly empty hands unto God. It's really so simple. Celebrate your wrongness. Celebrate your mistake, that insane instant of thinking that you could separate from the inseparable. You can't, you won't, it'll never happen. Celebrate that. And celebrate it by giving it away. Celebrate it by being the source of that love which created you. Oh, how simple is salvation. Let's breathe that in for a moment before we invite Vicky. Breathe in that the rightness that has always been right and the wrong which has never been. Just breathe it in. Yeah. And feel that which has always been true. Like the lesson said, you can't see something unless you feel it first. So see if you can feel this light that is so bright within you. So as we continue to feel, I'm going to invite Vicky to enter in and join us. Are you there, Vic?
Good morning, Brother James. I'm right here.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm awfully grateful you end with celebrating. You know, that's my department. Because the truth is, what hit me was the last line you said that you read. It's when you rejoin to God. But what it really ends up feeling like is rejoining with your brother or whoever or whatever's in front of you that you've been extending love to. That's really how in perception or in bodies and time, we find our own divinity, we find God. When that shift happens, you feel this total love that wants to celebrate, that wants to give of itself. And it's what creation is. We end up giving of the joy that has never swayed or changed or anything. And the whole shift, the practical piece in this for me is that the shift goes from what we think of as time and space, that's why it started with time, to a different way of using time. We use time to make adjustments and assessments and thinking. And if we use time to resonate with that string, with the E string, resonate with that God string, resonate. And where do we find God? In beauty, in art, in a song, in a smile, in a sunset. If we pay attention to right now, wherever we are, and resonate to wherever beauty, peace, joy is recognizable to us, rather than thinking about it, we abide with it. that's part of the shift in a miracle that goes from visible to the invisible. You go from thinking to abiding. Abiding to me is the threshold of that celebration, that open state of love. With it's this simple. There's nothing left to do but love each other, give to each other, play with each other, give anything you've got, whatever you got in your pantry, in your shelves, in your wallet, in your hand. It's just a way of celebrating. It's not that you give because there's a requirement. It's that it is the nature of love to give. It's that simple. And in the giving, we resonate to our own divinity and to our brother's divinity. And we can look at, and I do this all day long, I look at what I'm attracted to because I want to resonate with beauty and truth and love. And I don't want to bother with less than that. It's like listening to the most beautiful music or the loveliest everything. Why would I look at a trash heap? Not that there isn't beauty in it, perhaps, but when I could look at a sunrise or a sunset, or a movie, why would I be attracted to miserableness and terror and frightening myself?
That's why
right?
we watch only Disney movies.
And musicals and happy things that remind me of our wholeness, of our inclusion. Because if you notice, happy things are always inclusive. They have themes of many joining, many realizing that they're one and that their joy is in sharing. So I don't know, the shift in there for me on a daily basis, I am mindful of where my attention goes. And when I'm present and I put my attention on whatever's in front of me wholeheartedly, in the now and time becomes a way of joining with, even if it's I'm doing the dishes, it doesn't matter. It's doing whatever in that abiding presence that joins with whatever it is, because it's a way of giving of ourselves. And the whole mission is joy. I don't know if you've seen the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu's new movie, Mission Joy, but someone sent me it yesterday or sent the trailer for it. So Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama did a movie called Mission Joy. And it struck my heart because we are the Unity and Course in Miracles Department of Joy. That is part of our ordination here in time. We are called to bring forth joy. And in this trailer, and I didn't know how to watch the whole thing, one of the pivotal points for them is on reframing everything. The Buddhist way is to see, and the Dalai Lama spoke about this. Yep, I was tossed out of my country at 16. I lived in a 1,000-room palace and now I'm a refugee. So what? This gives me greater opportunities for realization, for happiness. Let me open to the greater possibilities at hand. And of course, that's one of the pinnacle examples in time of a brother saying, so what? Here I am. What's the greater opportunity at hand? And that's the teaching that Buddhism uses and that we do too. It's a shift in perception. I think I'll see this differently. I'll see this as the now opportunity for greater happiness. And these two men, when you see them together, are bundles of joy, playing with each other, inviting everyone to entrain. That's that same resonance, to entrain with them in this peaceful openness and willingness to allow all things to be, greater opportunities for greater joy. Amen.
I love it. Greater opportunities for greater joy. And it's funny how with people like the Dalai Lama, Desmond Tutu, Vicky, you see that playful, happy, childlike spirit. And that's part of the proof that this works. That childlike spirit is unleashed. I remember many, many years ago, I was in Cape Town, and the organizer of the events that I was doing said, I want to take you somewhere. So someone I want to meet and want you to meet. We got into his car and we drove to a house. It was in not a super great area, but it was a fine area. We knock on the door and a man comes to the door wearing just a t-shirt and pants, and it was Desmond Tutu.
Wow.
And I realized, and here he is, this just completely, or he just had this big smile. He said, "Come on in." And we sat with Desmond Tutu for about a half hour, just in just a normal white t-shirt, and as ordinary and as happy and as childlike as can be. I'll never forget that. And they have examples like that. I'm gonna have to check out this movie. What's it called again, Vicki?
It's called Mission Joy. You can get the trailer on YouTube. And when you figure out how to watch the movie, you have to let us all know, because I couldn't figure it out.
All right, Robbie will figure it out for it if it's on Netflix,
Okay.
Hulu.
Now
or
that's a movie to watch. We got to watch it.
That's right. That's right.
We're making that movie. We're part of that movie.
Well, that's all this is mission joy. I mean, that's our only mission, because the experience is the unleashing of that joy without opposite. That's the problem, is thinking that joy has to have an opposite, that happiness has to also have a flip side. And it doesn't. Well, I mean, it does in the world that we've created in our imagination. That's why we know it's created in our imagination, because anything with a flip side isn't real. Anything that is whole and eternal and one. Someone came up to me yesterday and said, "Are you happy?" I said, "I am happy even when I'm not." And it's true. Even when I'm challenged, there's still that sense of joy that's bubbling up inside of us. Even when you have things that you have to work through, even emotionally, that happiness, that joy can still be present. Let it just flow. The whole thing that I was getting when you were talking about the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu was just roll with it. I mean, here's the Dalai Lama. He's the leader of an entire country, an entire religion. He's turned into a refugee. And look at the joy. Have you ever seen the Dalai Lama not smiling, not happy? No. He just bubbles over with joy because he rolls with everything. And as you said, Vicki, he's always finding the higher expression. What is the expression from where I am right now? Wherever I find myself, what is the expression of this joy right now? And maybe it seems like I lost something. Okay, I was just thinking, for some odd reason, you know how stupid thoughts come into your brain. I was thinking, if I was in prison, would it be any different? Wouldn't I just be the expression of that love in the prison? I mean, we see movies about how terrible it is in prison, how loud it is in prison. But if I was in prison, if you were in prison, wouldn't we just be the light of the world in prison? Why would it be different? This is a prison. I hate to remind you, but what you have created here, the world of perception, is a prison cell. And remember the story that I've told before about the prisoner that was in his cell for years and years and years, and every day this very large muscular guard would bring his food and then close the door. And finally, after years of this, the prisoner determines to, even if he dies trying to fight this guard, he has to get out. So he puts himself right behind the door, thinking he'll jump the guard when he comes in. He leans against the door, and it opens. It wasn't locked. It was never locked. He steps outside, he looks around, and the prison guard is sitting at the other end, waves at him. He looks and he sees the open door, and he starts to walk toward it, thinking the prison guard's going to stop him. The only one stopping you is you. The door is always unlocked. Just lean against it, lean into it, and be free. That's it. Be free. Is Teddy there with you, Vicki?
He's resting today, Jimmy. Tomorrow he'll be back.
All right, good. We'll give him our love.
Oh, actually tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Wednesday, we won't be here.
Okay.
Wednesday. I'll send you a note. Okay. Tomorrow, yes.
How about Calico? Calico, are you out there? I love to call on people when they don't expect it. And we have people like Calico. I hear that giggle. I know she's there.
Oh my God, this has been a weekend. I've delved deeper and deeper into my own mind, and it's been so worth it. You know, yeah, I mean, I just finished an 1.5-hour phone call with Laverne, and it really is to take those shadows rather than, when you come across, whatever, a dead dog, and, there's a shadow that shows up, oh, poor dog. And it's really looking at, why am I thinking poor dog? And it's like, this is my process, and I don't want anyone to agree with me even. I just know this is what's working for me right now, is to really, it's, oh man, it's taking whatever circumstance you have and in mind, turning it on its end. Cancer, to my knowledge, I still have cancer. Who knows? It doesn't mean anything to me anymore. It doesn't cause fear for me anymore. It's just, okay, there was a script item called terminal cancer, and I have, it's taken me 10 years to get to this place, but it's like, oh, well, it's like being in prison. Well, there was a guy that I remember on a Zoom call that is a Course in Miracles student, and he had a life sentence. He's in prison still. And he had this concept more than I've ever seen any other human. He's in life, he's in prison, and yet he's happy. The circumstances of the world do not define me unless I let them. And it really is, this is the deepest work I've ever done, quite frankly. I have half the time I'm blowing myself up on the inside going, oh my God, there's another piece to it. There's another piece to it. There's another piece to it. And it's to take that piece and look at it from every angle. And initially, when I was told you have really bad metastatic cancer, I didn't just, I'll just laugh through it and not judge it. No, there were a lot of beliefs I had about what was being told to me, and they weren't landing as happy. And I had to sit with every single piece, when my energy started going down, or when I gained weight, or all of those, I had to sit with those and can I just look at what is affecting me here? What is my belief that's causing me pain? And then once I get a hold of that belief, then I have something to really grab onto and go, this no longer serves me. This no longer serves me. Now, will it hook me again? Quite possibly. And that's been my experience. And every time it does, now it's real familiar. It's like, oh, there I'm beating myself up for not moving fast enough or doing enough or whatever. And it's really come back. This is the app that Laverne and I are working on, to really take each individual person through their own process. Because no one can tell me, well, just snap out of it, Calico. That's not the way this works. This works by my willingness to go into it, to see this completely differently. And it's the most rewarding stuff I've done, definitely the hardest stuff I've ever done. And I just know that this is the path that A Course in Miracles is telling us to go on. I trust that with all my heart. And I've got to get to the subtleties of it, this weekend. So I started working on the app. I had this program. It was how to build your own app. And I was working on it all weekend. And at some moment, it stopped saving my work. And I was told to refresh the screen. You may lose your, anything you haven't saved, but this is the way you do it. I refreshed the screen and I lost all my work. And I was just sitting with it going, okay. And I call that a closed door. So for whatever reason, that door closed. It wasn't for me to make it wrong or bad. It was just to see it as, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing the app. And I sat in prayer with it all weekend of, no, I don't really have any interest in doing the technology to set up an app. What I really want is for someone to come into my world that can handle the technology, and I can just guide the flow of it, because that's what I'm dealing with, is the flow of my mind. And so it wasn't an upset. It was like, oh, not the direction. And then go into prayer. Holy Spirit, I really want to see what direction you want me to go in. I'm open to hearing whatever you need me to hear. And it did. Just this morning, there's someone that's coming in at a very reduced rate to set up an app. Well, if I had stayed with, God damn it, I'm going to do this app, I'm going to make this work, that wouldn't have happened. And it's like, I had to let go of that idea that I knew how to do this, or I was going to teach myself how to do this. And it was okay. My prison at that moment was thinking I had to do this app. And my mind was like, we're going to get through this. And instead of just going, oh, closed door, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing it this way. Holy Spirit, any information you might have to redirect me would be helpful. And this is the work of mind training. And it continues to blow me up and clear me. And I get longer and longer periods of just, being able to look at a garbage dump and go, wow, that's pretty amazing. No judgment about it. It's like, wow. Or dead dogs, or whatever it is that I'm looking at, and just go, oh, okay, next frame, let's look here, look there. And so and the course does say, we get access to the mind training by seeing our shadows. If we can't see our shadows, we can pretend like we're happy all the time, and many do. But the reality is, I want to be happy for no apparent reason. None. Zero. Zip. You don't love me? Oh, I'm, can't help you there. I love you. And walk, away. And if they join with me, great. If they don't, that's fine too. I'm not attached to form at this point. And yeah, I know. Thank you for applauding me, Vicki, because I'm like applauding myself on a regular basis. It's like, oh, okay. And the reality is, if the world sees this form as dying from cancer, that's none of my business. None of my business. And it's me just knowing, okay, I'm moving slower. I'm not doing, things with real speed like I used to. I need to rest more often. I don't give myself a hard time about it. It's just the way it is. And and the more I go into this, the deeper I go into this, and believe me, I'm in a very high learning curve right now of the subtleties of this and the subtleties of my shadow and how it sneaks in and wants me to make it real. And it's like, I'm not just avoiding it, because that was one of those techniques I used for most of my life. If I avoid the shadows, then I won't have them, but I had a huge belief system in angry men. Stay away from angry men. That's not safe for me. And now it's like, I can be with angry men and I can love them. I couldn't maybe even 5 years ago. I can now. It's the mind training. It's retraining my mind and looking at every single shadow that I think is there and reframing it through, why do you believe this? and it works. And I must say, I'm just having a really great day. It's gentle and creative, and it's with this, I may come up with some shadows, and I know how to deal with them. And it's just go with God, fall back into God. God can guide my mind out of this. God has nothing to do with form, ever, 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 ever. You know, that, and that's that clearing by really getting, if I think someone's angry at me, it has nothing to do with them. They're showing me my mind.
Yes.
You know, if I'm getting hooked by news, has nothing to do with the news. It has to do with my mind taking it in and making it something it is not. You know, we're not, you know, we had a president one time that was hooking a lot of people. And it's like, no, he wasn't hooking. It had nothing to do with the president. It had to me making something wrong outside of my mind. And me thinking that we need a loving leader to take us through this world is bullshit, really. I'll take whatever leader you give me, and I will see it differently because it's in my mind.
Thank you so much for that. Yes.
Thank you.
We call this divine indifference. Indifference doesn't usually seem like a positive quality, but to be indifferent in a divine sense means that there's only one thing that I'm focused on. And whatever happens is what happens. I don't have to be hooked by it. I was thinking the same thing. If someone likes me, there are a lot of people who don't. And that's okay. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, how can you not like me? But I'm a very likable person. But if they don't, fine. It does not mean anything. The same is true for all of us. So live in that divine indifference. Just rest there. It is a beautiful place to be. So thank you, everyone. What a beautiful way to begin our week. Call Dave, I'm going to come to you in a moment, but we're going to stop this recording. So if all of you who are watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. We love having you here.